Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Let's dig in. Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
Before moving to Florida, we lived in Indiana. That place is so flat. You can see for miles. Corn, wheat, and soybeans mostly. Oddly enough, we lived down a hill in a valley. Come to find out, the whole section of the neighborhood had once been a part of a lake until a dam was built and the area drained. In such flat terrain, we had to watch out for tornadoes and other severe storms. I've also lived in the mountains, and that area has its own problems, mainly ice in the winter, which made roads treacherous. Here in Florida, we don't have to be concerned about ice, but hurricanes can make life interesting. The thing is, anywhere we live, just the weather alone leaves us in need of a powerful God we can depend on to love and care for us. And God is omnipresent, so He can be with my family up in Kentucky in an ice storm or tornado at the same time He's with me here during a hurricane, should those things happen to coincide. If we know God, we have no doubt about that. Back in the Old Testament, however, most people, though not necessarily the Israelites, thought of their gods as local deities. Yes, this God might be strong over here, but if we move the battle over there, He's not a god over there, so we might have a chance. And if one group of people defeated another, well, it was because that group's god was stronger or had a wider influence than the others. That's the perspective the Syrians came with when they attacked Israel's army. They thought sure they'd win with a bigger, stronger army with horses and chariots. They besieged Samaria, but it didn't go well for them. They realized, correctly, that it must have been Samaria's god that was their problem. The advisory committee of Ben-Hadad, Syria's king, figured the God of Israel must be the God of the hills, since Samaria in that area was quite hilly. So they confidently suggested Ben-Hadad plan a battle on the plain instead. Seems a little crazy to us, but it was perfectly sensible to them. Just in case, Ben-Hadad brought a huge army. As the armies encamped around one another, it says that Israel was like two little flocks of goats, while the Syrians filled the countryside. We talked a bit about the result yesterday. Syria's flawed theology led to a sound defeat. Those who were left could confidently say, Israel's God is God of the hills and the valleys. Sometimes we have flawed theology like that too. We think of God as being at church and we go to meet Him there, when really we live in His presence. He's with us everywhere. There's not a place that we could go that He wouldn't be with us. Sometimes our flawed theology, or how we think about God, leads us to believe that the God that we see in the Bible, who did miracles for people back then, is the God of the past, not the God of our present and future. Even if we don't consciously think that, sometimes we act like it. Yes, God did that back in Bible days, but He's not going to do something miraculous for me. And that's flawed theology. Or we think God is God of the mountains of our lives, when everything seems to be going well. He's showering us with blessings, or even on a spiritual mountaintop where we can feel Him so close. But when we enter a valley, or when we don't feel God's presence, we think He's forsaken us. That couldn't be farther from the truth. God cannot be confined to time, space, or even our feelings. We may not understand Him or see Him working or feel like He's winning the battle, but we can trust Him and confidently tell ourselves and others, God is God of the hills and valleys, and He is in control.
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes at our website, which you can find in the description below. Thanks for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.